Hi there and welcome to Get Indie Gaming. Today we're covering the top 5 indie games we played throughout the month of July. While this is fewer than the normal for the series, given we moved countries over the past month and our main gaming PC, Xbox and PlayStation 4 have all been in storage, we've only had the Switch for company. Of course that's no real hardship given the quality of games coming out on this particular system, one that's quickly becoming our favourite console of this particular generation. Up next we've a third offering in a much loved series, a hugely tongue-in-cheek game about pool, plus also something for fans of the Punch-Out series. So without wasting any more time, let's get on with the rundown.
I have returned, and together we will craft you into the tool of my vengeance.
Let's begin this countdown of the top 5 games we've played this past month on the Switch with The Hand of Fate 2, offering a mix of chance and combat gameplay that's pretty unique, while graphically not one of the strongest games on the platform, and also doing without touchscreen or gesture controls, although for what we're given it's all told a pretty compelling package, with first-rate storytelling. The dealer also is a true high point, with superb voice acting throughout, and this alone creates much of the in-game atmosphere. Essentially a straight port from the PC version, it launches on the Switch with all of the aftermarket DLCs. This includes The Dealer's Apprentice and Shattered Memories. Each of the 22 mini-adventures offer plenty in the way of variety, replayability, and the whole thing has a decent enough runtime. If you missed out on this first time round on the PC, it's well worth picking it up, and it's certainly one we're going to be coming back to again at a later date. Originally out on the PC last year and a game we featured in one of our Kickstarter showcase videos, our number 4 this month, Patou Box, launched onto the Switch earlier in the month. Having played the games of the Punch-Out series a long time ago, this and other influences are clearly on show. Aside from that, the monochrome design choice puts us in mind of a graphically painted novel, a styling that's been cleverly implemented and one that works very well both in handheld and docked mode. As for how it plays, as a boxing game with adventure sections, its exploration parts and boss battles feel well spaced, and while there's some performance issues here and there, this didn't bother us too much. The writing and character development is pretty good and cool throughout, and who quite frankly doesn't want to play a boxing game as a man with the head of a duck? Silliness aside, Patou Box is a classy game that's full of well implemented touches. It's full of charm, and all in, together with a varied and punchy soundtrack, does what it does with quite some skill.
Looks like some pool balls playing soccer in a suburban park. Ooh, looks like that one's falling through space now. Ever seen one do that before?
Billed as the world's least realistic pool simulator, Pool Panic takes its basic cue from the pub classic game of billiards. Before twisting the premise into something so very different, it's hard to follow the line back to its beginnings. Pool Panic's an immensely fun game to play, although not without its issues. More on that a little bit later. Once you've seen off the tutorial, you can cannon your way into an open-ended world with various puzzles and things you have to go and figure out before Pool Panic has you sticking the black ball into the hole before you dive after it and go on to the next level. Sure, it's zany, wacky, and many other words beginning with Y, and yet at times we became confused by the level's design, or the open world itself where we often didn't quite know where we should be going. The camera angle too, with it being fixed, is another area of irritation, and while we're at it, a stronger sense of narrative and story would have helped push things along. Okay, so that's all rather moany, but still, harshness aside, it's still an exceptionally fun game to play, particularly in handheld mode in short bursts. It's perfect for the morning commute on the train or bus, the latter where most of our time has been spent playing it. Yes, it's flawed, but it's certainly worth picking up for its humour and casual playstyle. At the number 2 spot for games we played this July, The Lion's Song is a series of stories set within the early 20th century Austria that explores the rising fame of various artists and the changing world around them. Another port from the PC, The Lion's Song comprises of 4 episodes, where you explore like an old school adventure game from 15 years ago via the cursor while clicking on items on the screen and making dialogue choices along the way. These can make subtle changes to the narrative as you go through it, and this happens through each of the episodes. In a very clever design option, the Lion's Song allows you to start from a specific choice section, so you're able to make the opposite decisions without overwriting your original save point. In a common theme for this month's episode, what really struck us here in playing this game was the strength of the characters and overall prose. While often poetic, we're given glimpses into their lives and experiences that will resonate with many players in a way that feels intimate and very empathetic. The art style and visual design is very different from the norm and works a treat with its sepia filtered colour palette and suitably matching score. For some, the nature of how you play it will give cause to ask the question if this is really a game in the standard definition. This we understand, although we're more than happy to have it at the number 2 slot for this July. And if you don't normally pick these things up, it's a game we suggest checking out. You might just surprise yourself.
The end has come.
At number 1, the final installment in the Banner Saga series. The Banner Saga 3 gets going right after the end of the second game. While there is a recap, you won't get as much from this if you haven't already played through the first 2 parts, particularly in relation to the game's lore and character development. Like the others, the gameplay remains split between making choices as you progress through a level, such as allowing other travellers to join your group, battle sequences, and managing your party. The battles are the best they've ever been, with the implementation of the new wave system and something called the darkness that makes them more complex and longer lasting. As well as being an integral part of the story, the darkness is turning certain races and characters into hard as heck beings that have strengthened abilities. Think pesky zombies, although much stronger, and you've got to see them off. These battles are the hardest the game has to offer, and when you're victorious there's a huge sense of achievement. A word of warning though, brute strength is usually not the way to win these encounters. Just like others in this series, the Banner Saga 3 has an amazing orchestral musical score that's both sublime and creates an amazing engagement level and presence throughout the gameplay. The visuals on offer here are also the finest of the trilogy, with a design that reminds us of early Disney works such as The Sleeping Beauty. All in all, it's a fitting end to the series and one we can happily recommend. As we said at the start, players with experience of parts 1 and 2 are likely to get more out of this than newcomers, although please don't let this put you off starting afresh, as overall it's utterly superb. With the Banner Saga 3 fading away, we're almost finished up on today's video. Coming in August with all the usual indie game goodies and hopefully a collaboration video with Indieformer to look forward to. We're very glad to see the channel back up and running, and if you haven't seen them, there's a link to their channel in the description below. As always, please hit the like button, and if you haven't done so, why not subscribe right here today. Many thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you all again here soon for more indie game videos.